Bizarre Brain Comics. Oh, hello, my comic book friends. Yeehaw! This is the Trigger Kid for Bizarre Brain Comics, and I'm here to tell tales of the Wild West that never was. Yeehaw! That's funny. There we go. The sound of the gun is louder than the cap. Yeehaw! Yeah. And this time, we're going to go through a stack. Ooh, the Western comics from various publishers. Yeah, there we go. Through the decades. And you know, I love my westerns. Even have the Lone Ranger here on my cup. And we're starting off. This is from I think 55, 54, 55 from Dell Comics. The Cisco Kid. This was what I think issue 19 or something like that. 33, issue number 33. Look at this great cover painting, which Dell and later DC Gold Key were so well known for. The great cover paintings. Don't know who this artist was. It did a great job. And this was at a time when the Cisco Kid show was on TV and very popular. I used to watch the reruns when I was a kid, and and surprisingly they were in color. They were thinking ahead, and they had and I used to have a few DVDs featuring episodes of the Cisco Kid, and here, of course, Cisco and Pancho, and he had a great job of capturing the likenesses of what was his name? Fernando. I just looked it up. You'd think I'd remember. Fernando. What's his name? Ronaldo. Fernando Ronaldo, who played Cisco, and Carrillo. I've forgotten his first name. Who played Pancho? Hey Pancho. Hey Cisco. Nicely drawn stuff. Some nice work. Very tame stories. Of course, you know, this is the 50s and aimed at kids. Of course, the whole Cisco Kid show was intended for kids. Pedro having a solo story. Oh, that's Pedro. A backup story. This guy, Pedro. And Cisco. Yeah. Cisco Kid. Mexican clothing south of the border, all that stuff. Then we have The Mask of Zorro from Dell, also about the same time in the mid-50s. Unfortunately, it was like this when I got it. Somebody's mice got into their comic collection, which has happened to me, but not this one, and ate it up. And I don't even know what year this is from because it ate that part of the indicia. There's some nice artwork here. Of course, we all know Zorro. And nice artwork, and looks like a fun story. The artwork, of course, Alex Toth is best known for doing Zorro. But this is not Alex Toth. The art style actually reminds me a lot of Lee Elias, but it's not Lee Elias. But the inking style is very, very similar. What we have on the back here, even the back cover has pages. Then we go to Still, Del, Roy Rogers, and Trigger. Of course, Roy Rogers had his own title, and Trigger had his own title. And then this was, so Roy was very popular. But and I've seen some of the Roy Rogers TV show. But the unfortunate thing is, with the Roy Rogers TV show, it wasn't actually a Western set in the Western, in the Old West. It was set in contemporary times, and he had a lot of Western movies that were set from the 30s that were set in the 30s. But everything else was just Western fare. It just looked like the Old West, but they had cars. I'm like, what the heck? Because that's not really a Western. But here we go. From Gold Key, he who initiated this episode, the Lone Ranger. This is a 15 center. So this was probably about, what was it, 67? 69? 69. Again, real nice cover painting. Of course, Dell had the license, and published them earlier. And then when they had the Gold Key Dell split, all the licensed properties went with Gold Key. And of course, all these I've shown so far are licensed properties. Some nice clean artwork, and again, because remember, the Lone Ranger started as a radio show, and was very, very popular. And then there's another one. This is their Whitman imprint. The Lone Ranger, and another great painted cover. The Lone Ranger. And this is all reprint material from the 60s, though. Same artist as in the other issue. Some nice work. And of course, then the Lone Ranger had a spin-off, which was the Green Hornet. Of course, now the two properties are owned by different people, but I think they're both being published by. I think they may both be published by the same publisher now, but their properties are owned by different people. So let's see what else. And then still licensed. Oh, Gold Key, Bonanza, dun 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 dun. Photo cover, which 12 cents. This was an earlier one, 29. Oh, from 68. I grew up watching Bonanza. Ben Cartwright and his boys, Little Joe, Hoss, and Adam. Then Adam left, and it was just Hoss and Little Joe. Same artist who did those Lone Ranger comics. And even though this was 68, all this was already reprint material. Then we move over to Marvel. We got Kid Colt Outlaw number 135. It's in really rough condition. Nice cover illustration. The deadly menace of Black Bart's thundering guns, plus a second all-new frontier saga with the West's most famous outlaw. And this was 67, and this is mostly reprint as well. But this is drawn by Herb Trimpe, written by Saul Brodsky. Or Herb Trimpe. And it doesn't look much like his Hulk, does it? It looks like he's... it's really nice, though. It looks like he's... and here's written by Denny O'Neil, still art by Herb Trimpe. And this was... It looks a lot like... You can see his own style. Herb's style showing through. But it looks a lot like he's... following on like what's his name? Jack Killer. Who was I think that last one, I think, was George Tuska. Okay, here we go. Still Marvel. Two Gun Kid, number 93, 15 cents. He's back, wilder than ever. The Two Gun Kid, masked gunslinger of the Savage West. And this is a real nice cover by John Severin, but no Severin art inside. No. This is the macabre mystery of the Purple Phantom by Stan Lee and Dick Ayers. Now, Dick Ayers, he did most of his career all through the 50s and 60s was mostly doing Western and war stuff. But because he did some of this Western stuff and Sergeant Fury, and he was real good at this stuff. He even did commendable work on the superheroes, but his style, in my opinion, just doesn't lend itself as well to the superheroes. But he was really fine, and he also later for DC did Scalp Hunter. Oh, and that was good. And of course, he had a long career doing Ghost Rider for various publishers. And this is this purple guy. He looks just like the Ghost Rider, and he has some of the Ghost Rider tricks, except for that he's purple, and that purple is so dark it's hard to make out any details. Then we have the Outlaw Kid 21. This is 20 center. This would have been 72, 73. Yeah, with the whole thing is reprint from the 50s, but it's great. I just love the Outlaw Kid's art because it was done by Doug Wildey. Of course. And it's beautiful stuff. And of course, he did very commendable work with adventure stuff. Really kind of reminds me of Al Williamson, but it's not. And he created Johnny Quest for Hanna-Barbera and did all the character designs and stuff like that. And he even did some Johnny Quest comics for Comico in the 80s. Some really beautiful stuff. And of course, he did a lot of which I want to cover sometime, Rio, which is a Western character I think it was originally for a European audience. And his style is just wonderful. Then we go to Charlton Comics. And here we have Billy the Kid, number 79. Of course, Billy the Kid, right from Charlton for, even though it's got the name Billy the Kid, and he's William Bonney, and just like, he's not like the historical Billy the Kid, but these are good stories. Jose Delbo is doing the art towards here. Probably Joe Gill doing the writing. Does it say? No. And I think this is from 1970, 15-cent cover price. And he ran from I think it was 57 to 83, and a lot of that was reprint. Oh yeah, and then with backup, you always had good backup stories, and just the beautiful Pat Morisi drew this, and it's some beautiful artwork. It's not as dynamic as most artists, but it kind of makes up for it with his sheer draftsmanship. And you can see the way he draws. He was probably perfect for romance comics, but he was just great all around. Then another Billy the Kid. 127 February. So this is 35 center. This is so in the late 70s. 79. And this is all John Severin art, but it's all reprint material from the early 60s and late 50s. And it's not just Billy the Kid, because it's got Cheyenne Kid and I think Apache Kid here. Isn't that the Apache Kid? It looks like it, but I don't think it's necessarily the same character. But all great John Stephen. He was so good at this stuff. He was just all around good, but his style worked best with westerns and war and general adventure stuff. There's Billy the Kid again. Okay. Then we have still with Charlton, Billy the Kid number 151. That's a 60 cents, and that was 127. So quite a while. But the cover of this one is drawn by Bill Black, who was later the bigwig for. I suddenly cannot think of the name. I've covered their thing so many times, and they reprinted a whole bunch of various westerns and superheroes, Golden Age, public domain stuff. I just suddenly can't think of the name of the publisher, and this, yeah, Jose Delbo art again. And I think that's all reprint material as well. So then, because that's 82 or 83, then we're going to finish up with Skywald Comics, The Bravados. I showed one other book of The Bravados. This is number 1, and it was in bad shape. I had to. Oh, I didn't. I think when I got it, it was already taped up, because that's old tape. And of course, but these are cool to get because they didn't publish that many of them, and they're really neat. Of course, right, The Bravados, it's the lead story. Saul Brodsky again, editor. Len Wein wrote it, and Sid Shores drew it. At least the lead story, which is their original characters, the Bravados. Then after that story, because it's a thicker, square-bound book. Then after that, it's all reprint material from the 50s, and this is what was his name? Durango Kid? Yeah, the Durango Kid. And others. Billy Nevada, all reprint material from the 50s. And there's a lot of good shoot 'em up fun. So that's what I've got to share with you this time. With our little bunch of westerns. And before I go, remind you to get, if you're so inclined, to get my books. Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology, Bizarre Brain Comics Presents Heroes, both available from Amazon and other online sellers, Barnes & Noble, online store, etc. And I occasionally Google my stuff to see what it is, and they got someone on eBay trying to sell this book for $28. No, especially when it's so available. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what you think of my little Baker's Dozen batch of Western comics. Woohoo! Yee-haw! And remember, comics are art.